Well, hey, good morning. Nice to be here to wrap up July, this question and answer month. And I'm kind of stealing the last month as we talk about, or the last week of this month to talk about answers to questions. I mentioned the word vision last week and had said if you don't clarify it and speak it, it's hard to know what people to expect. So I just kind of spilled that over into talking about what hopefully the rest of 2026 looks like from things that I've been thinking about and Bill and I have been talking about. So just trying to highlight those and speak about them today as I wrote about it on Monday. The first one is, you remember, if you back here in January and February, we talked about the Pearl Street Way, all the 8 dimensions of wellness. And one of the things we've been chewing on all year and want to be able to implement is putting that into paper form as like some workbooks and supplementary aids to members. So kind of like a introductory version for newbies, some intermediate stuff for people who've been here a little bit while, and then probably some fully integrated workbooks just to be able to talk about how important it is that those dimensions get used and focused on each day throughout the days of the month. That's certainly what we believe, is you just can't piecemeal that or ignore parts of the dimensions and focus on others without a variety of them kind of coming to some kind of level of concern. The second one was just talking about the year and a half ago, we kind of finished up all the big space and some other common areas, but we're thinking as we renew our lease, we've been here 3 years in this facility, so it's time to re-up and do that. And so talking with the landlord about how to maximize some of the interior offices that we have access to or potential access to. The biggest version of that, if I had to think big, and I have been, is trying to find a way to have a counselor here every day that there's a class running. I mean, I'm here on Wednesdays at every class for a part of the time, but to really think like, oh, if we had some dedicated space and it was a little bit improved and managed, then every time someone's here, there's a counselor here, just like there's a trainer here. And I think that would really be a great thing, a satisfying thing, but certainly elevate Pearl Street to a different level of service and availability. So that's a big vision right now, but if we have the space, it's much more practical to see something like that occur. And then the final one is simply over the past 6 months, really coming into situations where people are hurting and dealing with injuries, and trying to take a lot of that work I do in the counseling office and try and shift some of that here, or just make it known overall, not just for athletes of different levels of competition or adult athletes just trying to stay active, but really wanting to let other facilities know of the unique resource we have here with Bill and I. So that's kind of the exciting vision to pass on those 3 answers. The email also included 2 exercises to do. The first one was provide us feedback or ideas if you think of other things that would be helpful to you and anybody else. And the more important question probably is asking yourself, how are you doing on those 8 dimensions of wellness? Have you ignored some and prioritized others? Are you trying to balance them all? And it's just a chance to check in here a little bit over halfway through the year to see how you can finish up and do well. Which kind of leads us to some facts, some things I was thinking of that I think, I'm biased of course, think that makes us unique around here. And it's tied to some of these comments. First, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Pearl Street Gym is a trademarked name in Wisconsin. So we want to preserve that and use that and build on that for some of those writing materials and opportunities to serve others. Even came across an article from Psychology Today back in 2021, and coincidentally, that probably starts at the time we began at SPO on the other side, trying to make up for when D1 shut down. Right about that time, some articles came out about, hey, there's maybe a growing trend of integrating physical and mental health. But some of those articles are just bringing in people who talk about life coaching versus counseling. So I thought I would just draw a distinction between that. I think both are, more people who help others is a great thing. I would say life coaching is about where are you at now and how do you want to go forward with efficiency and kind of maximizing someone toward goals. I think counseling can touch on that, but I don't think life coaching goes into kind of the diagnosis of problems, where things have come from, how to arrange some of that, and some of the self-understanding from the psychology field. Certainly there's different certifications and licensures that will differentiate that even further. But just if you hear that term, I'm not against life coaching. It can really help out a lot of people. But I think there's something unique about counseling and bringing in the mental health perspective to really help people maximize and overcome some barriers that exist. And that same article had this phrase that I thought I'd share. It said, one of the statements was, in general, people who struggle with mental illness may be seen as weak or defective. In contrast, gyms are seen as places where people embrace strength and well-being. And the article is saying, it wouldn't be great if those kind of combined. And it was satisfying just to think around here, mental health is seen as strong and valuable, and it's something to work on just as much, something to be proud of, or to say, this is not where I'm at, I want to get here, a parallel between physical and mental health. And that really does help, I think, from my perspective, maximize what I want mental health to be, something that's talked about, something that's engaged in, something that's not a taboo topic. And as we've all appreciated Bill, knowing that Bill thinks that working out is much more than the latest fad or nutrition or something else. It's a lived experience, and it involves many other aspects to that. So it's a perfect article to remind us and to share with you guys just how there's lots of potential when I feel like we've said this. We haven't even scratched the surface, I think, of where we can go. But leads us to two questions. The first one was this one: how was your life different 3 years ago than it is now? I've shared a little bit about how the gym is different. 3 years ago, 2023, anybody proud of a difference, or they notice something significant from 3 years ago to today that they can share? Anything come to mind?
Last time I did my camera around, I had more muscles so that was a change.
It's a good example, a personal example.
She could, I don't, she just said she could tell. You've been working out, I can tell.
Excellent. Others? Yeah.
3 years ago, I decided to go for my licensure in social work.
Mhm.
I'll be finishing up in December, and I'm super excited about that.
Very nice.
In the meantime, realized I had a whole lot of work to do on myself, and have been doing that, and it's been awesome. I'm really proud of it. It's good.
Well, that's an excellent series of examples of improvement and change. It's good. Any others? Yeah.
I got on medication for mental health. I was really like, I don't need it. I'm mentally strong. Like, I can handle it. And I was so opposed to it. And I got on it and changed my life. Can't believe I waited so long to do it. And yeah.
It's a significant difference sometimes. Makes life smoother, a little bit easier. Yeah. Those are good examples, good things to be talking about today during a workout, or thinking about, or writing down, and giving yourself credit for things. That's the goal. We want always the next year to be better than this year, or maybe each month to have some continuity and growing in some ways. That's why those dimensions are so important to us. So some final comments about why this foundation of a vision is so important to Bill and I. I think that taking time to have those personal evaluations or check-ins, like even taking this week about the gym overall, I think it just helps you stay focused on a vision and not get distracted into various things that will take away your energy or cause some chaos. That if you have a vision, you have to be disciplined to be able to stay on top of it, or else there's way too much in life, people, places, or things that will pull you away from what's most important to you. Often we'll mention in here about self-reflection, knowing yourself. I think the combination of that self-reflection and dialogue with people leads to insights and new understandings. And if you're struggling to kind of push through that next barrier, it might come down to you've not done enough self-reflection, or you haven't talked to enough people yet to have the insight that just acts as that key to unlock the next step. So really wanting to create a place, a facility where people are dialoguing with each other and seeing things go forward. And then finally, just building in a routine where there's actual consistent efforts you're making that are tangible, effective, actionable ideas, routines, modifications that help you achieve your goals, rather than being stuck on a merry-go-round and frustrated. It doesn't matter the pace, or if you graft it, if it's accelerating greatly, just as long as it's going up in the direction you want, is going to be very, very satisfying. But you have to do that through regular evaluation and community support and those other things. So a great week to talk about this questions and answers about where will things go as 2026 wraps up. So that's been nice. A hint for next month, as we go into a new month and a new topic, we'll talk about caring for others, because our support networks are so important. But I don't want to miss an opportunity just to help people be reminded of additional ideas and the value of how we can impact our support networks. Often I'll reference how important they are to us to help us, but we'll focus on giving back to a support network as well. So good to see everybody. Have a great workout, a good day, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.